Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with KeKe, Life, Love, and Mindset, where mindset meets movement, healing meets action, and conversations create transformation. I am your host, Kiki Chanel, award-winning author, lifestyle blogger, and owner of 19 Lifestyle Magazine. Around here, y'all already know how we do. We talk about life, love, mindset, and everything in between. So make sure that you pull up a chair, grab something to drink, because we kicking it. I am joined with a very special guest today. And you guys know I like to do, I like to give my guests the opportunity to tell you who they are. So I'm going to turn it over to Miss Ericka Floyd, and she's going to tell you guys who she is. Hi, Erica. Thank you for coming to kick it with me today.
Thank you.
Oh,
So I am a spoken word artist, poet. I've been writing on a regular basis since 2020. I am a United States Air Force veteran of many, many years ago. I have four grown children, ages 19, soon to be 25, 31, and 33. I am a transplant from Brooklyn, New York, now living in South Carolina. And I am newly published, published my first baby, my first book in January. It is titled Pen Ease for My Thoughts. Let me move this here for a moment. And that is, well, you can't really see it on this background, but it's titled Pennies for My Thoughts. And it is available on Amazon. But if you decide to order a book from me after viewing this podcast, please reach out to me in DMs. I will provide the IG whenever the appropriate time Miss Kiki decides to give me. I'll go ahead and give you the IG. And I cannot think of another thing besides the fact that I've been living in South Carolina since 2002. I left New York in 1979 when I was a teenager and then joined the service in 88 is when I started basic training. I only took 3 years in because I was married to another Air Force uh, veteran once upon a time, and I have been divorced now since 2014. And that's the only
okay.
thing I can think of to say. It's kind of hard to talk about yourself.
And that's the reason why I like my guests to do it
Yeah.
because it lets you, plug yourself. You be proud of yourself by like, dang, I forgot I did that. So that's the whole
Hmm.
reason why I let you guys tell the audience who you are. But again, thank you for coming to kick it with me. That was an amazing introduction of yourself. You have done a lot. Thank you for your service. I do appreciate that. We appreciate you. My youngest sister is an Army vet, so
Okay.
yes, yes. So we're going to get into the mindset moment
Okay.
where we talk about mindset that shapes how we experience life and love. Okay. So
Okay.
the first question is, what mindset shift changed the way you approach life?
Hmm. I guess I would have to say when I lost custody of my children after the divorce.
Mm,
A lot went into that, but of course, bottom line is I'm going to feel that it was unjust because hmm, I had divorced due to domestic violence. And I got to have custody of them in the beginning of the divorce, but then 2 years later, lost custody of the two younger children. And so, being a person of faith, and the fact that I had the church interceding on my behalf in prayer, close family and friends interceding in prayer, and I just couldn't understand it. You know, it's times like this where you question God, and you're like, "Why is this happening?" I'm thinking I did everything correct. Why this? Because I had experienced three miscarriages,
mm,
and once upon a time before I had the four children, and so for something that I had begged for, wondering if I would ever become a mother, to have that taken away. I was like, okay, God, I don't understand what's going on. And so it finally dawned on me. I guess you can say I had an epiphany and thought, well, perhaps there's something I'm supposed to do. And because of the type of a mother and wife that I was at the time, I poured everything into the family, I feel. It was all about them. And it was like, okay, who is Erica besides wife and mother? And then once I got divorced and lost the children, I'm like, okay, so now I don't have children to take care of. So what is it that there's something that I'm supposed to do that having to care for my children would have hindered? So
Mm,
that this must be a reason, because just like if you are a person of faith and you're familiar with Joseph, you know that Joseph had to go through trials. His brothers got rid of him
mm-hmm,
and he got arrested for something he didn't do.
mm-hmm.
So then I guess he had to learn about injustice or whatever up close and personal in order to go into his destiny to be able to rule and lead eventually once he finally reached what his vision was.
Right,
So, unfortunately, I wish I had the vision to know exactly where I'm supposed to go because I didn't dream about anything in particular as far as what I'm supposed to be doing. Yet, I have enough faith in me, at least mustard seed, to know that there is a reason. You know, God's plan is something we're never going to really comprehend, possibly until it's close to our end. So,
right,
that's what I had to come to terms with. There is something I'm supposed to do that, because if the children were with me, it would have hindered me and probably kept me from doing that.
right.
So that was the shift, I guess.
I love that. That was an amazing shift because, like you said, we question God. Sometimes we blame God. Sometimes we get so angry that He is telling us, "I have more for you to do," and we miss it. We miss out on a part of our purpose because we're so closed off to anger or
Hmm.
resentment or whatever it is that has us distracted at the time. So I'm glad that you found out who Erica was or is.
Yeah,
And
that's
we're
I'm still
ever
discovering.
changing. Yeah, we're ever
I'm
changing.
still,
So I love that. I love that.
yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So when we talk about life and poetry, how has your personal life journey shaped the way you write poetry? And can you recall a moment where writing helped you survive or make sense of life?
I'm not sure if I'm going to answer that in the correct order. I'm going to try,
Okay.
and you can always steer me back to the right direction. um, well, as far as shaping, I guess it's more loss. It's always more loss or anything. How do you put it? Where you experience strong emotions, I guess. And
Mm,
so I had lost my mother. I shouldn't say I lost her because I know where she is. But basically, she transitioned in 2020, about a week or two before the pandemic. And what I have said in one of my poems, which I it's not in the book, but I felt like 2020, it's ironic that I lost her in 2020 and decided to start writing on more of a regular basis because 2020 is supposed to be perfect vision.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I uh typically my character, as far as introvert or extrovert, I love people, but I never wanted to be the center or focus in front of a group of people. Okay. And for me
Dang.
to be doing what I'm doing now is nothing but God. I don't care what nobody says. That is my faith. God does things that are just unheard of or unbelievable, and you get blessings the same, and you get a blessing from somebody that you would have never fathomed. It's
Right.
got to be an act of God. They use them as a vessel to assist. But rewinding back, I just felt like even though my mother was 75 when she left us, I was like, she had so much potential to do so many things in life and didn't get the opportunity to do it. And my thing was, I got tired of being afraid to do things,
Mm-hmm.
especially things that are positive, that
Right.
doesn't mean any harm to anyone. So, a friend of mine who is a fellow poet happened to advertise on Facebook, because that was my only social media at the time, that he
Mhm.
was going to be doing open midday open mic 5 days a week on Instagram. And I didn't have Instagram. So I enlisted my then 13-year-old son, put me on Instagram. And initially he looked at me like you old. Why you gotta be on Instagram? Like that's our thing, like moms. But he did what I asked, bless him. And
Mhm.
he even had an issue with me after about a month or so. He's like, how do you have more followers than I do? And I said, it's because I'm involved in poetry. I follow the poets. I'm learning how to follow people and they follow me back.
Right.
And but needless to say, to try to fast forward, um, the person that founded Ain't Right Tribe, which by the way, I'm one of the midday open mic hosts. I forgot to mention that. I do this on Thursdays between 1 and 2 p.m.
Okay.
Since I'm available at that time currently. That person who is Moody Black, who is an award-winning poet himself. I sent him a few poems, I DM'd him, and he's like,
Mhm.
Erica, he said, you need to come on the show and share. And I said, I will never, ever, ever come on live. Silly me. God's laughing. He's falling out laughing right now. Because I
Mhm.
said never. And then come June, because it was April when I got on IG. And then come June, after watching so many live poetry segments, and I'm writing in the background. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and bite the bullet. And I was almost sick to my stomach, nervous. But I finally came on. And the host at the time, she said, you can write.
Mm.
She said, you need to keep doing this. And so anytime there was a live with another poet that I was following, and I would make myself again get on the live, and they tell me the same thing. They said, you need to keep doing this to try to get used to it because you can actually write. So
Mhm.
that was the beginning of that. It was basically I was in fear facing mode, even on this podcast. This was making me nervous because, like I said, I'm a virgin to podcast. But you cleared that up. I'll no longer be a virgin after today.
And I love it.
Because I said, you know what? I'm trying to kind of like bucket list or whatever you want to call it. Don't turn down opportunities. I have turned down too many opportunities in past because I was too shy, too scared to get in front of people.
Right.
So I was like, that's got to stop. And especially now that I am a senior, at 60, almost 61 years old, you know, we are not guaranteed the next moment.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm trying to seize every opportunity.
We have
So,
to.
so that's where I'm at right now.
I love that you said yes to yourself
Yeah. Thank
and
you.
got on that screen. It looks amazing on you. Just want to let you know.
Well, thank you.
This will not be your last podcast. Just want to let you know that.
Thank
The
you.
doors are gonna open. So say yes to yourself, show up for yourself, and let the people get a taste of who you are.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. So in your experience, how does
Mhm.
poetry reveal the difference between real love and the version of love that sometimes we convince ourselves to accept?
How does poetry, can you rephrase that?
Um, how does poetry help us determine whether it's real or not when it comes to love?
Yeah, now that one right there. In all honesty, I'm not sure. I mean, in the beginning, of course, when you first embark on poetry, well, particularly high school, was for
Mm.
me, that how do I love thee? Let me count the ways. It's very, very romantic,
Uh-huh.
fairy tale. But
Mhm.
we know the reality.
Yeah.
And since I am in spoken word, I mean, there's a lot of blood and tears left on the stage, so to
Yeah.
speak. You are speaking from experience. You speaking from the heart in terms of what you're going through at that moment. And if you're real gifted with your ink, you have a beautiful way, colorful way to put it where it
Yeah.
just sounds so great, your tragedy. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So and you get people in tune, especially if your delivery is not like monotone.
Uh-huh.
So no, because I've been through, if I live this long, I've been through some things.
Yes.
And it's just therapeutic. There's a gnat in here. It's just very therapeutic to be able to just write your thoughts down um, in a different way. It doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily have to be direct. It doesn't have to necessarily be pointing fingers at a particular person. I cannot believe this gnat now decides there's a gnat now, wants to mess with me while I'm on this podcast. I hope you guys are getting a kick out of my little bit of distress here about the gnat. But any case,
Love can be like
that's
that net. Sometimes love can be just like the net.
that.
Yes.
So yeah, that's the only thing I can say in regards to that.
That's a great
Because you
answer
think
though.
because before you start writing poetry, my initial introduction to it was okay. Oh, how beautiful, how romantic, and this, that, and the third. But then when you get into the spoken word aspect of it, sharing your experience, hearing other people, you realize, no, let me bring you back to reality. Yes, like
Hmm.
soul to soul, back to life,
Back to life.
back to reality.
And that is a great segue into my next segment, which is called the reality check, right?
Okay.
Because growth sounds good, but we know that it is not comfortable.
Mm.
And you just talked about some of your reality of being too shy and saying no and all the things. So, how has your life shifted by showing up and being in those rooms and giving yourself the opportunity to experience where the stage can actually take you?
It was freeing.
Mm,
I can't because you hold yourself in bondage when you're saying no, especially no to things that is positive. It's not like unless the person is crazy, no one's going to literally murder you just because you got on stage. It's either they like you or they don't like you, and they can choose not to listen, walk out, do whatever.
mhm,
It's not life or death in terms of you performing, but it was a freeing thing because it had held me in bondage for a long time, the fear,
mhm.
you know?
Yeah, and I think
So,
I'm a woman of faith too, so God does not give us the spirit of fear.
right.
So we have to stop saying I'm afraid and just try it. Because have you
Yeah.
ever talked yourself out of something without even trying?
Oh, many times in the past.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was always wanting to be behind the scenes, but then God said, no, you are a leader. Come forth.
Yeah.
And now I love meeting people like yourself. I love interviews. I love sharing people's stories that we never would have heard otherwise. And I love that you talk about how 2020 transformed, and put you on the stage and let you, hey, this is something that I really need to take seriously because so many other people are seeing what I know that's there, but it's like, eh. Same thing with me. I started my podcast going live on IG on Monday
Okay.
night in
Okay.
2020 after experiencing a loss of my 19-year-old bonus child. She passed away in
Oh,
2020.
wow.
And we
Oh,
we had a conversation about podcasts. She said, you would be great at it. You should do it. Ah. So it helped me to stop putting off what you can do today to tomorrow because it's not promised.
yeah,
She
I'm
was
sorry about that.
19. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Whole life ahead of her. Little did we know our time was going to be short
Wow.
with her. But yeah.
That's amazing. And it was 2020 as well.
2020 in April.
That
And
is,
everything, like when COVID hit, that's when it all happened. It was to the point where, we couldn't even have a full funeral service. Like it had to be limited amount of people and things like that. So that was a challenge. And she is like a bright light. She keeps me motivated because I
mhm.
too has gone through the part where why don't people show up? And we have to understand that sometimes people just not gonna show up because they just don't get it. They just not gonna like you. And it's okay. Show up for yourself, and your vibe will attract your tribe.
There you go.
Yes,
Your
ma'am.
vibe will attract your tribe.
Mhm.
I like that.
Yes, ma'am. So, Miss
Okay.
Erica, what
Yes.
is an uncomfortable truth people need to hear about personal growth?
An uncomfortable truth about personal growth.
Because
Hmm.
this is the reality check. Go ahead and give it to them.
Um, Personal growth. It is, as I've been saying, the only thing I can think of is just facing things that you are afraid of. It's the
Hmm.
only thing I can think of to say, because there's an uncertainty there if you're going to succeed or you're going to fail. And I know for me personally, I don't want to fail. It is very uncomfortable for me. I don't like to be criticized. I want to feel that I'm competent in everything that I set my mind to. Because it really hurts my feelings. I don't like to let anyone down. And
Hmm.
especially now myself
Hmm.
in situations. But I although this may be irrelevant, I don't know. But I tend to, when I tell you I'm going to do something, my follow through is pretty strong.
Hmm.
And it always bothers me if I can't do what I said I'm going to do. So I have to have a legitimate reason, and I will come to you rather than you have to search for me to say, well, you said you was going to do this. So it's very important to me that people have follow through. Don't tell me something and then don't do it. That's a
Right.
problem. And so I don't want to be that person either. So I make sure that I am someone you can count on, someone that's going to be competent in what I say I'm going to do. And yeah, that's the only thing about growth. Yeah, it's going to be for you to grow. You're going to have growing pains. It's going to be uncomfortable, period, point blank. That's all I can say about that. And this was uncomfortable. I mean, I literally had, I felt like I was going to have an anxiety attack when I first got on the
Really?
Instagram. Yeah. I
Hmm.
mean, the butterflies were strong, heart
Hmm.
pumping, everything. And then when the host at that time for that midday open mic, which is called Ain't Right Tribe, because I'm part of that tribe. That's why it was
Hmm.
interesting what you said.
About.
Um, and she said, you can write. And to get that recognition from other poets to be like, I enjoyed that piece. There may have been a bar here, which is normally an accident because I'm normally not, bar heavy in my pieces. I'm straight up for
Hmm.
the most part. I'm not a black chakra, but it's just comforting when fellow poets will give you your props, so
Absolutely.
yeah, so I feel
Absolutely.
validated to
Hmm.
be in this community.
And it's a beautiful thing when you find your people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. I'll tell anybody that.
Oh God, you just dropping all kinds of gems, and I can't steal from you.
Well, that one is not mine because I've heard it before, but it
I've
spoke
never.
volumes. So I
Mm-hmm.
always say that because more people need to understand that just because somebody is in your corner does not mean that they're in your corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's bring it home to the action step because mindset without action doesn't create change. And I want to ask this question.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you believe poetry can heal a broken heart, or does it simply give language to the pain, or maybe both?
That's a great question. It definitely gives language to the pain.
Hmm.
I have a lot of language in certain pieces. Um, as far as heal the broken heart, I guess it depends on what comes out in the translation of the piece or the language.
Mm-hmm.
to give you that epiphany or whatever. Because I know for me personally, as far as my relationship with God or my walk in my faith, I pray for discernment all the time. And I've written
Mm-hmm.
about one of the main things, gifts that I want is discernment because I'm at a certain age and I'm not trying to repeat errors. And I need you to show me I'm trying to follow you so I don't get myself in a mess and then begging you to get me out. When
Right.
I did not listen or heed to the voice that was trying to tell me or signal to me, yo, Erica, this is not it.
Yeah.
You may want to back out of this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, nah, just give it time or give them time and they'll come around and this, that, and the third. Or could it be the devil that's trying to sabotage my happiness? And so there's a back and forth or to and fro here going on with principalities and powers in high places you're wrestling. So,
Mm-hmm.
that thing. So I guess so as a form of therapy, perhaps it can, because I do believe that poetry it can be therapeutic for those that can't
Absolutely.
afford to get counseling. Write it out, let it out, because you need that release. So I guess
Absolutely.
the answer would be, yeah, it's possible that it can. I guess it just depends on your mental state and what you are able to receive and heed to and replicate each day, kind of like physical therapy or whatever. It's mental therapy.
I love that mental therapy. Come on,
You
snaps.
know,
I
thank
love it.
you.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yes, mental therapy. Let me write that down. You stealing from me, but I'm stealing from you too. I love it. I love it. So go ahead and tell people about the book again. Go ahead and let us know where
Okay.
you hang out on these Instagram. I know you're on Instagram and I know you're on Facebook because you mentioned those two. But tell us where
hmm
else you hang out if you have a website and all the things. Go ahead and plug it up.
Well, the website, unfortunately, I don't have ready well, I don't have a regular website, but I am on Amazon. But as I said before, I would prefer if someone would be interested in purchasing my book that they purchase it from me directly because I got copies here. But the title of the book, which unfortunately I still don't have, I'm not savvy on Zooms and podcasts because the background is distorting the book. But it is titled Pen Ease for My Thoughts. Ease, EASE. So it's a play on a saying, on a quote, and it's just basically what it says. Depending on what I was thinking about at the time, is what I wrote about. So it's no particular genre of poetry. I am on Ain't Right Tribe on IG, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays. I will be one of the poets performing in Atlanta October 16th at the BPC Poetry Festival. And here in Greenville, I am supposed to be the feature poet on August 9th. And the open mic event starts at 7:30. They typically will have maybe three or four poets do open mic, and then they'll present the feature, which will be me at that time. And it's also to help promote my book sales. And I'm trying to get, I'm not sure if it's definite or not. I'm trying to go to the poetry festival, not to perform, just to go to experience it in New York at Governor's Island. I believe that's the weekend of the 17th and the 18th of
Okay.
July.
Of July.
Yeah. Those are the only
Nice.
things I can think of right now because I'm
So
already
what's your
here with
IG
you, so
handle?
this is done. Pardon me?
Yeah. What's your IG handle?
BKLYNNDAHSE. It's pronounced Brooklyn in the house.
Got it.
So it's BKLYNNDAHSE.
Got it. I got it. I got it. And then on Facebook is just your name or how, what are, okay.
Just my
Got
name, Ericka Floyd with the C and the K.
All right, nice. Nice. And it's so funny because my baby sister, the one that I told you that served in the military as well, her name is Erica.
Oh, snap. Get
She
out of
just doesn't have
here.
the K in there. But yeah, so the kindred spirits. I was like, okay, I see.
Absolutely. So much
Yes,
coincidence flying around in
I
that.
know, but I wanted to share this with you before we get off because Erica is a featured poet in the new edition of 19 Lifestyle Magazine. Issue number 10 is dedicated to poetry. And here she is.
I love it. And I appreciate you guys so much uh, for accepting me. Really.
Absolutely. Listen,
Mhm.
your expression, it just gives me chills. And I was like, yes, this is it. This is it. I love it. I love it. But thank you for being an asset to our publication. We are in our second year and
Oh,
we just
cool.
love meeting amazing individuals like yourself to help and come make us who we are becoming. Because they said the first 3 to 5 years in magazines are crucial, whether you're going to have longevity or not. And we have been loving the ride thus far. So thank you for being
Thank
amongst
you.
the pages of 19 Lifestyle Magazine. Yes,
Appreciate it.
ma'am. Final question of the evening.
Uh-oh.
If you had to write a poem today that
Mm.
captures your current season of life, love, and mindset, what would the title be and what would it say about where you are right now? And take a moment.
Well, the title's already been taken
Mm,
by Michelle Obama. Because I'm still kind of becoming, so to speak. I guess discovery.
oh, I like that.
Because I still playfully say to people, I'm not sure what I want to do when I grow up, what I want to be. So I'm discovering things about myself every day. And I have less tolerance for things that I used to put up with. And I have mentioned before, I'm sure to different audiences, that now I understand the insanity, or maybe that's a strong word, in regards to my grandmother, may she rest in peace, and my mother, but definitely my grandmother, because she would speak her mind for as long as I known her. And I said, now that I'm at this age, I understand what it means to have less filter. As I
Mm,
get older, even though I use diplomacy, I try to
mhm.
not hurt anyone's feelings. But I'm going to tell you straight up, instead of keeping things bottled up inside where I'm going to end up giving myself an ulcer, I'm
Right.
going to let you know, because it's enough of that, of worrying about, or putting someone else's feelings, giving them priority over mine.
Absolutely. I love that. Oh, discovery. You should write a poem called that.
Discovery.
You gotta do it now.
Yeah, I knew you was going. I am writing it down. I am writing it down. Although I think I probably hinted on those things in some of my other pieces, but I will give it some thought. Absolutely. I really
Yes,
enjoyed this. These questions were something else. These questions was like, okay, she really, really gonna put me to the test today. Okay, then,
look,
lady.
that's why I don't send out the questions because I like for the answers to be authentic
Yeah,
instead of rehearsed. Because had I sent questions, and sometimes the questions don't come to me until I meet you.
and that's perfectly fine.
Mhm.
It's part of
But
my growth, the growing
yes,
thing. So hey, it's all
and
good.
now that you have broken your virginity for podcast with Kicking It with KeKe. All right. I'm the exclusive.
Yes.
I'm the first. Okay.
Yes, you are.
How do you feel?
I feel better now that we're getting towards the end. I see the light. Hallelujah.
You see the light. But you guys have been listening to another episode of Kicking It with KeKe, Life, Love, and Mindset. I have been joined with Miss Ericka Floyd, and she has been amazing. Thank you guys for tuning in. If this conversation resonated with you, make sure that you like, subscribe, share with a friend, and remember your story has power, your voice has purpose, and your mindset can change everything. Give yourself permission to say yes to yourself without being overwhelmed or second guessing yourself. We already have enough of that. So allow yourself to say yes. Yes, ma'am.
That no, I was saying that part.
Oh, oh, okay.
So you did not need me to read that piece that was published.
You can go ahead. Let's do that. Let's do that. Come to the
Okay.
stage, Miss Ericka Floyd.
Okay, so it's titled Melancholy Moods. Melancholy moods mandated me motionless to meaningful memories, mercilessly mourning matriarchs in memoriam that have moved to their mansions many months ago, making me mindful of my mortality. Each morning, midday, and moon that materializes, never motionless, meticulous in its movement. Me, myself, mistakenly meandering minutes, aware that moments won't miraculously multiply or will minus. Meanwhile, remembering Marsh was my maiden moniker, mulling over the misguided missteps in matrimony, the misery of miscarriages that were too many. Meditative murmurings to my Messiah motivated me to maintain my mental, ultimately mesmerized by the miraculous metamorphosis of motherhood. Made the misery more meaningful. Grateful, the mission was manifested. For minions worth millions to me. Yet no more Mohicans moseying through my middle passage. Menstruation met its demise. And meanwhile, menopause is masterfully messing up my mojo. Poem.
I love that. When
Thank
I
you.
read that, you should. I was like a cat that had got his canary. I really was because I was like, what? Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
that
ma'am.
tells it all.
That
Thank
listen,
you.
I love it. I love it. And thank you again for coming to kick it with me today. It has been my absolute pleasure to
Thank
have you
you
here. Any
for me
final
as well.
words? Yes, ma'am. Any
Mhm.
final words that you would like to leave with the listeners today?
Not that I can think of at this moment, just to, if you can, if you have the luxury of time in making decisions, because we have to make decisions every day, there are decisions, there are choices. If you have the luxury of time to just take the time and think about certain things that are going to affect you and other people, do that. Ask for discernment.
Mm.
Ask for to really focus on discernment, because I'm telling you, when you take the time to think before you act, you know, that in itself, it is a blessing to be able to think about it, because I'm telling you, there are always consequences
Mm.
to the wrong thing, and you can't, and more often than not, you can't go back and
Right.
undo. So please, 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 if nothing else, you pray for discernment. You pray that you get a warning in your spirit, in your soul, in your head, to, guide you correctly, guide you in the path that you need to take, and trying to choose whatever it is that you need to choose to do. Because we have decisions. We are bombarded with decisions every day. That's life.
Yeah. I
And,
love it.
and yeah, and normally I end with love you with the love of Christ. Peace and hair grease, my people. Holla at you later.
And we are out. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Kicking It With KeKe. Purple Hugs. Later.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.